Hey everybody, it's Safi and Marco, Dish Out on Movies, the only movie review show on YouTube to review movies in terms of food. It's just Marco here once again, and I am here today to review a movie that I just picked randomly. I really had trouble deciding what to watch. Originally, I was going to watch the Spanish movie, and it was on Tubi, and I got really excited because I was like, yay! This was like 3 in the afternoon. Well, then I started it, and it was all in Spanish, and there were no subtitles, and so it was just, that's what it sounded like to me. I could not understand it at all, and I still sat through it for like 25 minutes because I was like, maybe I can interpret what's going on, maybe I can still understand, but no, I couldn't, because it looked like a crappy movie anyway. But yeah, that was really disappointing. So I don't know if I'll ever try to finish that movie or anything. Maybe if I get someone Spanish to help me. And I need to probably let my cat out. For some reason, he just magically decided that he wants to leave. I guess at least he finished the movie with me. What'd you think of the movie, Bernie? If you tell me your review of this movie, you can be let out. Okay, I don't know what that means. He ran out. That's how bad this movie was. It's like he's just running out of the movie theater. And so, I picked out this movie called Rapture. I was really excited about this movie. It's got Michael Onken from Twin Peaks. And I saw him in a TV movie before where he plays this rapist. And it's called like the Bad Guy Next Door or something like that. And it was actually a pretty good movie. And he gave a really good performance as this rapist that just got out of prison. And, his struggles the whole movie, and, he was really, really good in that. So I thought for sure he's going to be good in this, and this movie's going to be awesome. And as well, it also has Karen Allen. You guys know the Karen Allen. I guess she was in quite a few TV movies. Which is sad, because she's a good actress, and, I guess she needed to make all that extra money, that TV movie money, because I'm really kind of shocked that she was in all these TV movies. She doesn't seem like a TV movie actress. She's better than that. At least she could be in indie movies or something, I don't know. So this was a movie. It was a TV movie. Now, this is one of those ones that kind of perpetuates the stereotype that TV movies aren't good. Because it's very predictable. It's very by the numbers. Nothing really different or interesting happens in this movie. And on top of that, the performances are really not that good because the characters are not that good. The writing is not very good. This was kind of a disappointment of a movie. I'm going to kind of go through it. I wrote some notes because I didn't have anything else to do. And so, yeah. The movie starts off, and he's already a shithead, this character. He's banging a teenage girl. And she's like a supermodel, too. And it's just really funny watching, Michael Onken. He gets, everything that he wants in this movie, basically. He kisses every single actress in this entire movie. And I just think, they don't even have movies like that anymore. Nowadays, the guy is lucky if he at least just gets to kiss one girl, But Michael Onken in this movie, he gets to kiss all of them. He's banging all of them practically. I mean, he almost bangs Karen Allen. Almost. It's really surprising that he doesn't, and then also, well, we'll get to the other one, because the other one was really shocking. It was so shocking, I was like, what the hell? I was like, no, you know. But it starts off, he's banging a teenage girl. That's a no-no. And then he's also kind of a douchebag, in a way. I don't know. This is what the movie gave me. And then his dad dies, and he goes home to Connecticut, and he's at his dad's funeral, and he walks outside, and he makes this really, really funny noise that, it was so over the top. This is what it was like. I'm going to imitate it. Gah! No, it wasn't like that exactly. It was like, Gah! 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 It was literally like, I don't know, I don't know. It was so weird. It was so weird and unnatural. He just walks outside calmly, and then all of a sudden, Gah! That's a choice, an acting. Terrible choice, might I add. And I would also like to add, this movie looks like a porno. It has a sex scene like every 10 minutes practically, and I know that I'm the last person on earth that you would expect to criticize sex scenes. It's just the fact that, like, this movie is practically a porno in the sense that it looks exactly like these vintage pornos. The sets, every single set in the movie looks like a porno scene, or it looks like a cheap furniture store setup where you have like the dining room where you can test out these chairs, or the living room, or the bedroom. It's really, really cheap looking. It's really, really like, this is a porno, clearly. I mean, there's so many, it's ridiculous, guys. Like, it's kind of like what Deep Water was supposed to be, if you guys remember that movie with Ben Affleck and Ana de Armas. That movie advertised itself as an erotic thriller, and then there wasn't any, like, sex scenes the entire movie. It was just, like, I think they have one blowjob scene, and that's it. And it's like, yeah, that's not an erotic thriller. This movie is an erotic thriller. So, that if I'm saying that, it's pretty bad. And so that's what also makes it awkward, is that it's Michael Onken, and it's just something about it is just so silly and goofy seeing him. And there's this one part where he's got a prostitute, and he's role-playing like he's a policeman who's going to arrest her. And it's really, 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 like, it's just kind of like, wow, this is cheeseball city. In fact, I feel bad that I chose this movie to watch, because I feel like it's not really, people don't really care about this movie. I mean, I'd never heard of this movie before. And the main character, I can't remember if his name was Jeff or Michael. I can't remember, I'm serious, like, I don't know. I just call him Main Guy. Main Guy, he made a video game or a program called Rapture. It's never exactly explained, like, if it's a video game or what it is. It's a program, or it's other things, because the daughter of Karen Allen, she says, it's not just a video game, it's a program, it's a show, it's the hottest thing around, or something. It's really, really weird how it's described. And it's so good, too, that we're not even really allowed to see it, or even, like, the poster for it. And I think, like, that's, like, a typical cheap TV movie cliche, is that, like, I accomplished something really, really good, but you're not going to be able to see it as an audience member. Kind of like in Back to the Future, at the end of the movie, where George has that book that he wrote, and he just got all those copies that arrived at the house, and it's like some science fiction book, and it's like, there's nothing inside that fucking book. It's just a blank prop, and it's just like, I kind of hate that when they do that in these movies. Like, it might just be me because I'm very detail oriented. But like if I did this movie, I would want to at least have like a rundown of what Rapture is. You know, they kind of showed at a certain point. It's almost like I don't know. It's really, really weird. It's like a desktop computer screen where you can open up pictures and you can also like play voice recordings that you make yourself. Like, it's really strange. It doesn't really make much sense. And so the main guy, he comes back to Connecticut also for this high school reunion. He gets really, really hard on for Karen Allen again. He went to high school with her, but she's married. Oh no. And it's really weird because he starts hanging out at her house. And he gets really triggered when he sees her husband's wedding ring. And I thought, why would he be so triggered when he already knows that she's married? You know, like, it's just kind of retarded. Like, I have several people who, you know, I would be very upset at seeing. But, like, I wouldn't freak out at seeing the wedding rings. Like, it's pretty standard for people to get married to have wedding rings. Right? So then, the main guy, he comes back to Connecticut again. He just can't stay out of Connecticut. I don't know what it is about Connecticut with this guy. He comes back, and he kills Karen's husband, and then he tosses the rock that he used to kill him with. He tosses it aside. And it's so bad what he does. He bashes his brains in, and then he rolls the husband down the hill, and I guess puts him next to the river. But it's so sloppy, and it's just so obvious. Like, if they did crime scene investigation, they would find that rock. It has blood all over it. It's also got fingerprints all over it. And then they would be able to tell that he rolled that guy down the hill. So it's just really, really, like, idiotic. You know, this is almost like a scene from Fargo, which will come up again pretty soon, because this movie was a little bit like Fargo in a way. I hesitate to even say that. And the main guy, he takes the husband's wedding ring, the shoes, and a watch. And I thought, taking the wedding ring is the stupidest thing I've ever heard. It's a dead giveaway for motive. It didn't look like it was worth very much either. So, like, you couldn't say that, like, oh, it looks like a robbery. No, it looked like a very cheap wedding ring. And the second half is kind of resemblant of The Stepfather, where, you know, he's trying to move in on Karen Allen now that she's single again. And the daughter isn't happy, and she's trying to find out the truth. And it's funny because at the beginning of the movie, when they introduced Karen's daughter, I thought she looks kind of like Jill Schoelen from The Stepfather, and she kind of talks like her too. She sounds like her. So I guess this is like the Jill Schoelen Wish.com version. And so then the main guy's ex discovers all this evidence conveniently, and she calls him to, or wait. Okay, this is before she discovers the evidence. Okay, here's where he breaks up with her. She calls him, and it's really kind of uncomfortable because she's in her, like, room. It's weird, too, because she doesn't really look like a teenager as much. She looks like she's, like, 19 or 20. She doesn't look like a teenager. And she's like, "Hey, Jeffrey," or "Hey, Michael, I'm naked." As she's saying that, she's hugging her teddy bear, and it's really, really queer. And and then this is where you have the funniest line of the movie. He's like, "It's over. You know why? Because I have no use for juvenile whores. And then he hangs up the phone, and like that was the funniest thing in the whole movie. I was like, I wish that there was more of that in this production. You know, I have no use for juvenile whores is probably one of the greatest like breakup lines ever. Like, I kind of wish that it would have been in a better movie, like, overall, because other than that, this movie's trash. Like, in a year, I'm only ever going to remember this movie for I have no use for juvenile whores. And so, and somehow, too, I didn't get this, but apparently this was in the Rapture game. The main guy continuously views a picture of himself and Karen Allen as teenagers on his television, and he accessed it by putting on the Rapture game. So Jailbait figures it out. I'm just going to call her Jailbait. She figures it out, and she tries to kind of get him in trouble, and surprise, surprise, he murders her too. And at this point, I was like, okay, this guy's got some problems. Like, he's not only a pedophile, but he's a double murderer pedophile. He's a serial killer now. You guys know that? 2 or more, you're a serial killer. And, yeah, I'm sorry, guys. This movie's really dull. It's doldrums. But one has to figure out, so what ends up happening is he tricked her to come to Connecticut, too. But one has to wonder, how did she manage to go from California to Connecticut without her parents noticing? Because, like, she's in this room that's like a child's bedroom, so you assume she has parents. So I didn't get that at all. They didn't really get into that. Her parents never come looking for her. There's nothing about her at all. She's, like, kind of forgotten about. And he murders her in the funniest way possible, where he presses his thumbs into her throat in these 2 places. And, like, look, spoiler alert, if you want to strangle someone properly, I learned this on a true crime documentary about the serial killer that I want to make a movie about eventually. And you have to press these 2 certain points. That's why strangling is very, very hard to do. Because you have to really press hard. And it has to be on those certain points. And that is the only way it'll work. If you just, like, put your hand up on someone's throat, it's not going to work. You have to press these 2 points to cut off their air supply. I hate even thinking about it, but he presses his thumbs on these points, and it's just the stupidest thing I've ever seen. It's so silly and unrealistic, and I thought, like, wow, this is probably one of the goofiest kills I've ever seen. And another thing that I haven't mentioned yet, but, you know, a lot of people, they wrongfully criticized Killers of the Flower Moon for making Leonardo DiCaprio the main character. And I didn't really get their criticism, but if they were watching this movie with me, I would agree with them. Because I was thinking, why is this guy the main character? He's evil as hell. He's not likable in any way, shape, or form. You don't root for him to get the girl because he's killing people and he's controlling and he's a psychopath. So, like, why would he be the main character? Like, in The Stepfather, you know, the stepfather's in the movie quite a bit, but most of it is the daughter. You know, she's the main character. And so I thought that, you know, this was also, like, a terrible decision to make this bad guy the main character. You know, I didn't get that. And so then they meet up again, Karen Allen and main guy, and she rejects him again, even after all that he's been through to get with her. And it's funny because at this point I thought, remember that scene in Fargo, you know, the Fargo movie, where the main woman meets up with that Asian guy in the restaurant, and he admits that he's been, like, stalking her. and that he's been in love with her ever since high school, and he's just obsessed with her. That's what this scene reminded me of, and so I thought, this is almost like, what if they made a movie all about that Chinese guy from Fargo? So I thought that was kind of queer. And then this is where the movie gets really fucked up. The main guy takes Karen's daughter out on a picnic to try to win her over, and he pours wine for her, and for some reason she immediately drinks it. Like, why would a teenage girl, like, just, I mean, she's with a stranger practically, a guy who's twice her age, in the middle of nowhere, and she accepts wine from him. Why? I mean, she doesn't even question it. Like, I'm too young to drink this. And then he could be like, no, you're not. No one's ever too young. You know, because that's his character. But no, she just accepts it like it's perfectly normal. Like, even when I was a teenager and I would have some drinks sometimes, a.k.a. New Year's Eve, New Year's, it was treated like something special. It wasn't treated like, let's just pour you a glass of wine. There you go. Fill it all the way up. Like, no. So that was weird. But this is where it gets really, really weird. The daughter makes a move on the main guy. And he starts making out with her. And this is the part where I was like, what the hell? Like, she wanted to have sex with him. She wanted to have sex with this creepy old guy who wants to move in on her mom. Like, what the hell is up with that? That's really weird. And probably would never happen in real life, hopefully. But I thought that was really strange. I was so glad they didn't have sex. And then there's kind of like a freak out where he gets turned off because he's reminded that she's the daughter of not only Karen Allen, but the dad that he killed. And so he's then like, get away! And this is when it's really funny, because they bring up this kind of subplot that's been going on where Karen's daughter, she's been working on a list of suspects of like who killed her dad. Like, you know how the police are usually the ones who come up with a list of suspects? Well, Karen's daughter, she's got her own list. You know, she's kind of like a Penny from Inspector Gadget, I guess. And he's like, give me the list. I want to see the list. Am I at the top of the list? Because I'm obviously the bad guy. You know, he basically reveals that he killed the dad. Like, it's really, really stupid. So then he tries to kill the daughter. She gets away, obviously. He doesn't know it. And then the daughter and mom plot to distract him while she breaks into the Rapture game, because obviously in the movie called Rapture, the ending will be completely dependent on the daughter hacking her way through the game of Rapture. And we do get to see Rapture a little tiny bit, and it's basically like a desktop computer, to where like you have like icons and you press on them and you get access to them. Like, it's really nothing special at all. It's really funny. And then also the Karen, when she's distracting him, she notices that he's wearing the wedding ring. And this is where I thought, this is fucking retarded, because how would the police not have noticed when they came over to the house? You know, the detective, he came over and saw the main guy. How did he not notice that he has a wedding ring and question, like, sir, are you married? Because then the guy could say, no, my wife's dead or something. But then the wife would have noticed the wedding ring and she could have alerted the policeman. So, stupid. So this is where things take a turn, a very quick turn, because at this point, the people who made the movie realized that they have hit their runtime, their TV runtime, and they gotta end it. So the main guy takes Karen out to the middle of nowhere to meet the daughter. And they basically just freak out on him and say, like, look, we're not going to be together, and, you're effed up mentally, and it's, it's just stupid. And so then what does the main guy do after going through all this trouble the whole movie, killing people for this girl? What does he do? He drives himself off a cliff. And you know what he does when he drives himself off a cliff? He makes the exact same noise that he made at the funeral, to the point of where it could have actually been the same noise that they overdubbed over this, to where he said, "Gua! Gua!" That's what he says. And that's where the movie ends. And my torture ends as well. I would give this movie, in terms of food, this was a really big disappointment, of where I thought this could either be really good genuinely, like Stalking Laura, or it could be like meme gold, like that movie with MacGyver that I just reviewed. But instead it was just kind of in between. Very dull. I would give this movie a bowl of oatmeal with no sugar and no milk. And I actually have to eat that in the movie that I'm working on right now, my film. It's really, really terrible. I mean, it is just the worst. I purposefully, hardly put any water in it, too. So it was just really, really terrible and lumpy and thick. And, yeah, it was gross. Spoiler alert. What I did to kind of cheat my way out of it was, I still have baby spoons from when I was a baby and baby utensils. And so I used a baby spoon to eat the oatmeal. I only had to eat a couple bites, for the shots. And so that was lucky enough for me. Anyways, I hope this video was worth it. I was thinking about reviewing In Cold Blood, because I just watched that last week. I think on Saturday of last week. And I thought that movie was a masterpiece. And but I just decided to do this because it was more fresh in my mind. So anyways, please like this video and comment. And then please subscribe to our channel if you'd like to see more honest movie reviews. Goodbye, everybody. See you soon for American Horror Story 1984.